Very early one morning, Percy was just finishing up his mail run. He was very tired and could not wait for a rest in his nice warm shed. Suddenly, he heard something in the distance. Driver, did you hear that noise?" "I sure did, Percy, and it didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before." Then they heard the sound again, this time louder. "Driver, I'm frightened." "It's probably just a wolf. They tend to hunt at night." Suddenly, a terrified Bertie the bus raced past Percy. "Run for your life! There's an engine with legs coming this way!" An engine with legs? But engines don't have legs. Do they? Then out of the trees, racing towards Percy, was an unmistakable face. "Bust my buffers, it's Charles!" Percy raced away as fast as he could. "I thought that monster was gone forever!" Meanwhile, back at the sheds, the other engines were still fast asleep. They were soon woken up by Percy's whistle. That sounded like Percy. Something must be wrong. Sure enough, a terrified Percy was racing towards the shed. "Oh my God, Percy, what happened?" "It's Charles. He's still alive and he's gonna kill us all." "What are you on about, Percy? Edward and Henry threw Charles in the river." "You don't understand, Gordon. It really was him." "Percy, I saw what happened. Charles was thrown in the river." "Thomas is right, and even if he did survive, he's probably far into the ocean by now." "Why doesn't anyone believe me?" Then the engines heard a roar in the distance. And sure enough, Charles came rushing towards them. "Impossible! We already dealt with him!" All the engines quickly hid inside of their sheds, and the monster began to destroy the sheds trying to get to the engines.
"Did you really think a little bit of water would do me in?"
When he broke in, he stared right at Percy. The little green engine was terrified and thought he was done for. Just as the monster was about to put an end to the engines, he was shoved to the side by what seemed like another spider-legged engine. At first, the engines were confused. Then Thomas recognized the engine. "Guys, that's Oliver!" And sure enough, Oliver the Beast was clashing with Charles. At first, it seemed like the two were evenly matched, but eventually Charles overpowered Oliver. "Charles is gonna kill Oliver if we don't do something!" "Thomas, what do we do?" Thomas thought for a moment, then he had an idea. "Everyone, blow your whistles." "Are you daft? What is blowing our whistles going to do?" "Just trust me." "Well, you heard the tank engine. Everyone blow your whistles." And the engines began to blow their whistles as loud as they could. Sure enough, the whistling seemed to distract Charles, long enough for Oliver to recover and continue the fight. The engines continued to fight, but Charles did not relent. "Well, Thomas, any more bright ideas?" "I've got a few, yeah." Thomas thought and thought and thought. "I've got it. Gordon, Henry, go to the nearest cliff and tie your ropes together. I will then lure Charles to the cliff and get rid of him for good." By that point, Charles had crippled Oliver. "Hey, Ugly, come and get me!" The monster quickly turned his attention towards Thomas and chased after him. Thomas lured Charles to the cliff where Gordon and Henry were. "Gordon, Henry, now!" The two engines wasted no time pulling their ropes. And sure enough, Charles tripped over the rope and was about to fall off the cliff. But he caught a hold of the cliff and managed to pull himself back up. "Great, now what do we do?" But before Thomas could answer, Oliver used the remaining strength he had to push Charles off the cliff. And the monstrous train finally fell to his death. Oliver let out a loud victory roar before collapsing to the ground. He was too weak to stand. We need to get Oliver to the steamworks, and fast. Gordon and Henry hauled an unconscious Oliver to the steamworks, and he was in there for a very long time. A few weeks have gone by, and the engines were worried about their friend. Thomas, do you think Oliver will be okay? And if so, will Oliver ever be the same again? Well, why don't you ask him yourself, said a voice. Oliver, you're all right. Not only that, but I am now permanently cured. That's great to hear. It's so good to have you back, Oliver. It's great to be back, Percy. But I wonder how Duck is going to react to my return. Well, I'm sure Duck will be very happy to see you, Oliver. In fact, I'll take you to go see him. What a jolly good idea, Thomas. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Jason here. Before you click off the video, let me show you my merch. That's right, you can buy your very own Jason Sheeran merchandise, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, bags, mugs, or whatever you want, caps. I've got them. Very own Unholy Alliance t-shirt or Shinigami-osaurus Ultimate Apexes. Or if you haven't decided which giant carnivore you like the best, you can be either Team T-Rex, Team Spino, or Team Giga. The link will be in the description down below, so get your merch today!